You know it.
Good morning, everybody. Looking forward and welcome back to Think Business Live Mentorship Edition. Ish and I are looking forward to talking to entrepreneur Loren Nelson. Loren is the founder of both Levor and Dream Vallie. She is an entrepreneur as well as one of Wisconsin's innovators under 25. Loren, I love interviewing entrepreneurs in their 20s. You are 21. You're doing great things, and Ish and I are excited to talk with you. I want to kick off and talk about what does an entrepreneur mean to you today as we sit here, February 3rd, 2021, because I think it means something differently than it did even 10 months ago before COVID hit. I think being an entrepreneur is something that there's many more entrepreneurs sprouting up every single day as people are trying to get into alignment with their soul and their personal values. We're seeing, people who are starting side businesses. We're seeing so many things. And I think people realize being an entrepreneur is not an easy thing. And so what does being an entrepreneur mean to you?
Yeah, so for me, it really comes down to following your purpose. When I first started business, that was my first company, Levor, and that was about 2 years ago. And at first, I just loved the thrill of working on my own. I started working for myself when I was 16 years old, and I was just coaching people. And that was my first time that I realized that I could get paid more than $9 an hour. And so that was the starting point. So I was like, okay, I know for a fact that I don't want to work for anyone else because I know my value and what I can give. So when I got into the world of entrepreneurship and I started my first business, Levor, it was just, again, the love of business and working for myself. But as soon as COVID hit and having to be in the house all the time and really, just being with yourself and having to learn more about yourself, it made me realize that while I did love my business, Levor, it wasn't what I was put on this earth to do. And I didn't feel like I was serving at my maximum capacity. And that's kind of how I ended up starting my company, Dream Vallie. So for me, it's all purpose driven. And I want to make sure that I'm maximizing my potential while I'm here on this earth.
I love it. I love that
as well. Loren, I'm so excited to interview you. I know we go way back. I used to be your coach, and then you were working with me at Heat Tennis Academy. So it's awesome to see you grow and prosper. Tell me about the mindset development, because I know it takes time and stages and understanding of oneself, especially being so young and in school and juggling all these things, being a college athlete, on top of course, having Levor as an entrepreneurial development stage, and now shifting into Dream Vallie. Talk to me about the whole mindset you're going through and figuring things out as you're developing yourself.
So when it comes to, really trying to find balance, for me, it's just, the balance of everything. Like you mentioned, I am involved with a lot of different things in my life. And so it just really takes me a lot of time and a lot of self-reflection to make sure that I'm, making sure I'm the best I can be so I can serve others. And two, just being able to show up every day to the best of my ability. And a lot of the time too, I just have to, I really love to just binge. What would you call it? Let's say David Goggins. What would you call him? Like an inspirational person.
David Goggins, I would call him a beast and a beast of nature, like a freak of nature. He's the greatest. His audiobook is one of the greatest audiobooks ever.
I haven't listened to it. I'll have to get it, but I listen to him on YouTube all the time to really get myself going, because obviously it's times where, especially in the winter, you just don't want to get out of bed. It's cold. You just want to stay and not do anything. And so it's really important for me to keep this inspiration and motivation in my everyday life so I can keep pushing the way I need to really be where I want to be by the end of the next 10 years. So.
Well, I love what you're talking about. Just real quickly, Dave Goggins' book is somebody reads the book and then in between each chapters, they talk about it. So it's like a podcast within the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's great. I have tried to get him on this show over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
I think you have to go on the run with him first, John. That's probably his first thing before you actually interview him. You
Right, probably. Hey, Loren, I have a question for you. You said earlier, and I think this is something that people struggle with. You said you knew your value. And what I love about it is you're 21 years old. You recognize this at even a younger age. And I think a lot of times people don't know what their value is. They don't know. And when you look at businesses, it's interesting because there's 2,400 hours in a year, right, that people typically work. And even if you throw in vacation and time off and things of that nature, let's say there's like 2,000 hours that people work, right? Just to like make it round. And so if somebody's making $75,000 a year, just for example, and you divide that by the 2,000 hours they work, that really comes to $37.50 an hour, right? And you can divide that up. And when people recognize that, when I showcase that to people, they'll say, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that." Now you can add in health benefits and other things, but give or take, people don't realize, especially if they're working 2,400 hours a year for companies because they're working around the clock. At $75,000 for $2,400, you quantify that, it's $31 an hour, give or take. And so then you have somebody like you who says, "Wait, I know my value. I can charge more because the value is there, work less, make the same thing, or work the same and quadruple what I'm making." And so how did you kind of really not only get connected to that, but use that as a springboard to say, "I know it, I'm going to implement it, I'm going to live it, I'm going to charge it, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it."
Yeah, and I know that's a big problem for a lot of people, especially the people like my close friends who are starting businesses. They're afraid to charge even though they're providing great services. So for me, I don't know. I was really, I was really focused on providing the most value, and I compared myself to the best. And that's what I really like to do. I'm like, okay, so compared to the top people, where do I compare? Like, what value am I able to give? What are they charging? Okay, and then I amount myself to that. So I am really value oriented, and I'm realistic about what I can provide. And that's what makes me be able to charge what I can. And on top of that, just seeing the confidence that other people have and seeing how they're able to charge is what helped me as well. Like, for example, one of the designers I was working with, she was the very first professional designer I worked with, and she has amazing work, and she charged me like $1,000 off the jump. And that was like my first big payment. I was like, oh my gosh, but it's worth it compared to going to Fiverr and paying like $10 and getting like this, I don't know, average design. And so I realized even from her, okay, I know if I'm willing to pay this much for quality, that other people would be willing to pay me for that same amount of quality. So it's just really comparing what I want to give and how much value I'm able to give to value myself and what I actually get paid.
Good for you. Good for you. Ish, I know you may have another question, but I just want to ask a question with that. I know as a coach, you coach primarily women. And so how are you empowering women to find their value and charge for it?
So one of the things is helping them find their passions. And I think that's one of the hardest things, because a lot of the women that I work with, they're new entrepreneurs and they just want to start a business. And so usually when you first start a business, it's not really something that you're in love with. You're just doing it for the cash. And so I think that's the first problem where most people mess up, is that it's not truly what they love and it's not in alignment with what's right for them. And so that's the first thing that I help them with. And then once I help them find what they're really good at, then we can start talking about the monetary value and how much they're able to give to their customers or clients.
Okay, well said.
Loren, tell me about the clients, and is there anything specifically that you're constantly seeing over and over again when they're starting a business, or the mental the side of things? Tell me about a little about the people that you work with and the tendencies that you've experienced as a coach?
And it usually comes down to people having limiting beliefs and really short stopping themselves from their potential. And so a lot of the times when we're trying to take them to the next step, it always comes back down to them not believing that they can really do it, which is why they don't take action. And so it's really uncovering those limiting beliefs that they have so that they're able to grow their businesses and put in the work to get to that next step.
Yeah. I love it. What are the one or two most common limiting beliefs?
One is that people wouldn't pay for this at the amount that they would at the amount that they should charge. And the other one is just that they don't believe that they can do it. So, and just with it being that broad, it stops them from taking steps to try new things or to do that, execute that marketing plan that they had because they just don't believe it will work in general.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I think I see our limiting beliefs that hold people back are sometimes people don't realize what they're so uniquely good at. They can actually charge for it because they think everybody is uniquely good at that. And they're not. You know, what's unique to you is truly unique. And also I think sometimes people look back and they have a hard time making double, triple, quadruple money than maybe their parents did, or, you know, from where they came from. And I think that, you know, if you can break those two pieces, and I think the third thing that I see a lot is just having the courage to ask, right? That limiting thing that, and that's, as a business coach, that's what I work with a lot of people on those as well, because when you start to know how to ask for business, understand your value, like you're talking about, then you get people starting to say yes. And then once they start to say yes, you kind of raise your level of consciousness to get to the next level. So I love what you're talking about.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to ask, I think it was your turn, John, but the big thing,
go, it's all you.
Okay, perfect. I think as coaches, and we all need mentors. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about your hunt for your mentors and the values that you look for for a mentor as you are developing yourself, helping others throughout their journey.
Yeah, so having a mentor is really, really important to me. And I don't know. At first, I would try to find my mentors not organically, I guess I can say, because the schools have like different ways to partner you up. And I found that, unfortunately, that wasn't the best way just because, just because one person is an entrepreneur and another person is, like, it doesn't always match. So I started trying to find what I like to call my mastermind people. And I got some really close friends who are a little bit older than me, but they really help serve as my mentors. They've been they're where I want to be right now. And, it just really helps me have a full perspective of what business is and just the emotional aspect of it. It's not always sunshine and rainbows in business. And so being able to have them and that support really helps get me along.
Yeah, that's important. Mentorship is huge. And, if you can find those groups of people that help you get unstuck, even in those sliver areas, I think that's so key. So I want to talk a little bit about, you have two companies. You have your organic hair care, right, Levor, and then you have Dream Vallie. But I want to talk a little bit about your ideal client, right? So you are working, I know you said, with women to live their fullest potential, but who are, for the people listening, the women listening, the people who know the women who need to be listening and may send this podcast interview to them, who are your ideal clients and how are you helping them, reach their potential?
Yeah. So I like to call my dream clients. My dream client is someone who is looking to step away from the norms, and break away from societal norms, and people who are just sick of living someone else's dream. And that was my big thing, like always following this one path and trying to do everything the right way. My dream client are the people or are the women who are ready to just take back their lives for themselves and create a life specifically meant for them. And so what I do is I help you find your purpose and your passions. And then I really help you set those goals that help you take action instantly. And so, yeah, that's just really what I love.
Loren, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh my goodness. So in 10 years, more specifically with my company, Dream Vallie, I'm currently working through phases to create I'm still coming up with the official name, but I guess we can go for now, the transformational station. And so I want to create a transformation station / retreat for female entrepreneurs who are just living their lives, running multiple businesses, having a family, and just really trying to balance their life overall. Give them a space where they can come and refine themselves and reconnect with their inner selves, and also with other like-minded women. So I'm hoping to build up my entire location from scratch and go from there. So that's what I'm working on now.
I want to talk a little bit about a lot of the things that you're talking about are really getting people back connected, following your passion, doing things that speak to your soul, really being connected. And I'm a big believer in that. The deeper you get into the DNA and the soul and of yourself and raise your level of awareness. How are you getting people connected to be present so they can kind of hear internally what their passions are telling them and guiding them to, right? To listening to their gut, listening to their instincts, and just believing in themselves and creating something that is in alignment with not only what somebody will pay for, but also the soul of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really believe that it comes down to a process, and it's not just like something that instantly happens. It takes a lot of self-awareness and really digging deeper into who you really are, and a lot of your past as well, just uncovering everything. And so I like to put that into morning routines just to start making it a daily habit of diving deeper into yourself, finding out what you're grateful for, and just really finding out the true you, because it can come from anything, but it just really takes time and consistent effort to find it.
Yeah.
John, this interview reminds me of our first interview we ever did. A lot of things are overarching together with Loren and stuff. Loren, I wanted to ask you this. What are your 3 core values that you hold on dearly to yourself, that you define as that's who you are and that's who you want to be moving forward?
Mm-hmm. I'd say my top 3 core values are 1, hardworking. I believe that that's the only way to get anywhere in life. 2, I want to be known as loving, and I really think that without love, there's nothing. And 3, I want to be known as honest. And again, that's just really important to me, to just always be forthcoming with everything I do.
Yeah, I love it. I think what you're doing is great. I love that you are, doing great things, not only as an entrepreneur, but as a business coach, and and helping women unlock their potential. You're in alignment with yourself, and it shows in everything that you do, and even how you say it. You ready for a quick speed round, Loren?
Oh yes.
All right. Favorite book and why?
Ooh, oh my goodness. That's tricky. Oh gosh. Shoe Dog. I just listened to that. It was so good. Oh my goodness. It was so good. I might have to listen to it again. But the story was just so beautiful. I almost cried a couple times. And just seeing the journey, it really, I don't know, he just showed the truth in the full journey of an entrepreneur. You know, it's not just sunshine and rainbows, but it takes grit. And so I just love that book so much.
Yeah, it's so funny you mention that because that's an older book-ish, but I just downloaded it last week because somebody on my show mentioned that book, and I thought, oh, I never read it. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to listening to it.
It's a great book. It's a great book, John. Best advice you ever gotten and the worst advice you've ever gotten?
The best advice I've ever gotten was someone told me, if you think you're going hard now, go even harder. And I was like, all right. Okay, sounds good. The worst advice, I don't know. It's really hard. I try to I don't keep it in my mind. Let's think. Worst advice.
Well, that's good to hear that you're just brushing it off. There we go. That's the whole point. Brush it off.
Here's the last question. Finish this sentence, Loren. Starting today, one thing everybody needs to do to increase their awareness is
take at least 5 minutes to meditate a day.
Amen to that. I just learned about a new breathing exercise called the Wim Hof method. WINHOF. He's unbelievable, and he's a big believer in breath work and cold showers. So I've been doing it every day. It's great. Loren, can't thank you enough for being on the show. Tell everybody again your ideal clients and how they can connect with you.
Yes. So if you are a new or aspiring entrepreneur who's really looking to fall into your passions and create the life that you deserve, you can find me on Instagram at Lavita, and that's LAVITTAA. That's 3 T's and 2 A's. Or you can email me at LorenNelson@dreamvallie.com.
That's great. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. It was a pleasure meeting you. We really didn't talk about you as a college athlete and a tennis player and things of that nature, but it sounds like it is in the threads of everything that you're doing as far as the discipline and everything of that nature. But I'm excited for you and looking forward to watching your career grow through the decades. I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for taking time and sharing everything today. And Ish, I will let you close it up.
Thank you guys so much for joining Think Business Live Mentorship Edition. Thank you so much for Loren for joining us. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Guys, hold on for just a second. Thanks, everybody, for listening.